All right, good morning, everyone. We are live here. We got Derek Vickers back, Tyler Andrews, and we're waiting for Lauren Elaine, who kind of disappeared off the face of the earth for a while. We don't know where where she's been. She's she just stopped showing up, and she started having fun, enjoying life, and traveling. So we'll catch up with her. But morning, Derek and Tyler.
Good
Morning.
morning.
How you guys been? I haven't talked to you guys in a while, also, man. What have you guys been up to?
Man, I've just been, we've been looking for deals and, handling the deals that we purchased in the last, 3 or 4 months and handling, the inevitable things that come up with those. Um, and just, trying to continue to build the brand and grow more, get more deals. I mean, that's really what we've been focusing on here lately and hanging out with the family and doing that fun stuff.
What about you, Tyler? How's the lending world looking right now?
It was a lot better until this week.
Yeah.
Good. We got busy for a minute, and then it slowed back down. This week, obviously, the Fed announcement and the whole dot plot, people were freaking out a little bit that 2025 is not going to be as good as anticipated. But it's been a good year. I mean, things are starting to pick up. Stabilize some rentals in Boise this week, and I'm just looking forward to 2025 and kind of seeing what changes the new administration brings and work with it that way. I think we talked about it last time. Real estate deals are always going to get done. It's just we got to kind of see what the market's going to take us and then adjust our strategy towards that. So also spending tons of time with the family.
Cool. Yeah, this is a busy time, so I'm glad you guys could spend some time with me today and kind of talk about maybe what we've learned, maybe a recap of 2024 and what we did and how we're looking to win in 2025. So maybe Derek, you can start.
Yeah, 2024 was like a getting the wheels back on sort of year. I mean, we when they started raising rates in 2022, we had bought like 20 some properties up to that point. And didn't buy anything from June of 2022 until July of this year. So it was like a 2-year pause, right? The market, at least in mobile home parks, just sort of went, bust. All the sellers wanted, the same prices that they could get before. You couldn't do that. And this year it opened up a bit. So we closed 4 deals this year. And, I've just learned that in this business this year, like when we went on that big run in 2021, it's like most of the time you have to be patient. You have to be patient. You don't want to do dumb deals. And so that's really what I've learned and gotten my, being an entrepreneur, being patient is not always what we like to do, especially with growing the business. And, I just learned that you need to do that, right? And wait for the good deals to come. And so, we're moving in the right direction. We'll see what happens as Tyler was talking about the market. I mean, you just never know. Even though that they've lowered rates, our debt that we get is based on the 5-year Treasury, which really has went back up when they started reducing rates. So I don't know what's going to happen. I mean, I think there's going to be some more deals this year. There's going to be some transactions, but it's still not going to go back to the lightning years of 2021 and the beginning of 2022. I don't think.
What about you, Tyler? How was your 2024?
I mean, it was better than 23, but it was good. I mean, it's fine, right? Like, yeah. So like, the majority of my business is usually mortgage, in addition to the flipping and wholesaling and stuff like that. So that part has been slow. My primary market that I invest in, Boise, kind of had its ups and downs, but we still had a good year on that side. So I would say for my expectations, it met my expectations. Do I want 2025 to be better? Yeah, absolutely. Um, I just think this year for me personally, with my whole leg thing going on, I kind of made a conscious effort not to like go crazy on the business side and focus more on my health so I can start walking normally again and doing stuff like that. So back and forth. But yeah, I think overall it was a good year. I think each year that this happens too, especially on the lending side, you start eliminating a lot of your competition. Same thing with investing. As each year goes on and it gets tough, people usually go and find something that has less resistance, right? So when people move out of the market and on the next upswing, it's held true over the last 20 years that I've been doing this, is on that next upswing, at least for the first couple of years, you're working in the same environment with a lot less competition. So I'm personally looking forward to that. And I think no matter what happens, we're going to be in a good spot. I think if rates stay high, you're going to continue to have people where they're inadjustable or moving into adjustable rates. It's going to put pressure to make decisions, and you can get some deals that way. And if rates drop, I think we'll get a ton of appreciation. I know in SoCal, right now, I'm going to go with a client to look at some investment properties with them today. They're still receiving multiple offers, even with rates above 7%. So I think it's very market dependent, and I'm definitely looking forward to 2025.
Any mistakes or any learning that you guys probably done in 2024? Like,
Always.
oh yeah, yeah. I think that's how it always is, right?
Yeah. I think I waited too long to take out some personal debt on. I own some of my rentals. I owned free and clear, and I kept thinking rates will go down, committing the cardinal sin. And then I decided to do it anyways and pull the money out. And the difference in those loan amounts is that monthly payment is negligible. So I'm glad I did it this year, but I wish I hadn't waited as long.
What about you, Derek? Has the rate fluctuations affected like mobile home park investing on you?
Yeah, I mean, it just there's just less stuff you can buy. You can't. The price. You just can't pay a 5 cap for stuff. Like some people do. Some people do. Somehow they either pay cash or they're getting very low leverage. But it's hard to do, and especially when you have investors, because you have to give them a return. And you can't just buy these deals at praying that rates will go down. Look, in 5 years, I think rates will go down. I don't know how much, but when I'm looking at deals now, I'm assuming that they're not going to go down. I'm assuming they're going to remain flat, and we're going to stay conservative on these. But yeah, it's been harder to pencil stuff and make stuff work, which is frustrating. We're looking at 10 to 20 deals a week or more, and not a lot of those work, unfortunately. And in 2021, you probably could have made freaking 85% of them work. But so it can get a little frustrating. But again, it just what I talked about before, and staying persistent and just blocking and tackling every day, keeping your operations in order, like for when the market does shift. You're going to be ready to buy. Or we keep our acquisitions team like really heavy on the phones, and we're sending mailers and doing all these things for acquisitions. So the deals that are good, we think that we're going to be able to get, right? Because there's less of them. We're trying to make sure that we get those deals when they do come.
All right, and I want to just reintroduce, I guess, if any of you, my new audience, doesn't know who she is. This is Lauren Elaine, who kind of just disappeared on us and been traveling and having fun. I see our Instagram post. So welcome, Lauren. How you been?
Thank you. It's good to be back. Yeah, I know. I was like, I'm going to keep up with doing the lives while I'm gone. No.
Yeah. So I'm sure you have. I don't think you met Derek or Tyler before. Derek's invested in mobile home park. Tyler is I guess I don't know. We always say retired, but retired firefighter. He's a mortgage lender, investor, and then we have Lauren Elaine. So Lauren, why don't you fill us in real quick what you've been doing?
What have I been doing? I was in Bali for 4 months. And so, yeah, I was eating fruit, surfing, and just hanging out with friends, living my best life.
I see a lot of CrossFit and working out, and what were you doing? I mean, were you guys
Yeah.
competing or anything?
What? Oh, well, yeah. So I did this thing called High Rocks, which it's not, I had never heard of it before going there. It's like an alternative to CrossFit. It's not really CrossFitty, but yeah, it's a new competition thing that's all over Asia and Europe. And and the gym that I was going to, they all were traveling to Hong Kong for this competition. So we had a team that was sponsored by our gym, gave us like merch and everything to wear. And yeah, it was super fun.
Cool. And I think the last time we probably talked, you were selling some assets, or did you finally close on that, or so? What's your
I haven't closed yet, but yes, was under contract, no longer under contract, back on the market, but we're just getting into the high season here in Florida. So hopefully we'll have the equestrian properties sold by March at the latest.
and Tyler and Derek? Have you heard of equestrian properties or equestrian investments?
I
Um,
have not.
no, but I know in Ocala, that's like the big spot. So I don't know if you're doing it there.
I am. I'm in Ocala.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
surprised you've heard of it, honestly. Like no one ever knows anything about it.
Yeah, we have two parks in Ocala on Gainesville Road, and I live in Winter Park, so I'm like,
Oh, okay.
yeah, yeah, and we actually stayed. So if you go to Ocala, it's like not like it's growing, right? It's like a bigger city, but they have this $1 billion World Equestrian Center there, Mark, and it's like basically the Four Seasons in a place where you would never think that there's a Four Seasons.
No,
Super nice.
yeah, it's growing. It's getting bigger, especially because of the World Equestrian Center. But I think before the Equestrian Center came, there was like 200,000 people here. It was very, and in a large area of land, like it's very spread out.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, that's like what brought me here was the building of the World Equestrian Center and realizing that there was going to be some opportunity. So that's how I got into the equestrian stuff. But now I'm moving out of it.
So the only thing I don't like about portrait mode is when I share comments, or it kind of cuts someone off. But Josh said she's the tortoise wrangler, so he remembers you. So it's good to have you back. But we were kind of just talking about 2024, maybe a recap, maybe what we've learned, and how we're looking at 2025. So maybe you can fill us in on maybe. I know you've been probably the investing side might have been put on hold, but how did you pay for your travels? Was your Airbnbs, your short-term rentals helping you fund your travels?
Yeah. Yeah. It was a really good test to step away for 4 months. I mean, I wasn't initially thinking that it was going to be 4 months. If at first I was going to be gone for a month, and then it was 2, and then it was 3, and then I was like, I'm never coming back. But it's a really good practice, I think, as a business owner to see if you can step away. And I did, and everything was going really well with the Airbnbs, and they funded my travels. And I had a lot of time to reflect on my business and what I want now, especially moving out of the equestrian industry and what I'm looking forward to jumping into next. And yeah, and it was good to see where I need to tighten things up as far as like the Airbnbs go, and like having the right people in place so that when emergencies do come up, they are empowered to handle them. Because I was in the complete opposite time zone as Florida. So it's 10 a.m. here, it would be 10 p.m. there. So when something happens at 2 p.m., that was 2 a.m. my time. So I wasn't really available. So yeah, so I think next on the list is really focusing on storage and boutique hotels.
Nice, yeah.
Yeah.
So I guess your systems are pretty good that you could have been gone for 4 months. I mean, so now 2025, what are you going to be implementing? Maybe what changes are you going to make?
I think everything is good with the Airbnbs. I have a really great cleaner. I have great property managers. I have a good handyman. Those people that know the property at this point in time, that they can do anything that they need to do, and they know that I trust them. If they feel like they need to call a professional in, they're empowered to do that. And so I think as far as those systems go, I'm good. I learned a lot during the 4 months and could make tweaks. But it'll be going into like a boutique hotel or going into storage. It'll be interesting to see if I can translate those systems, because I haven't been in those industries before. So it'll be a whole new learning curve.
Well, maybe Tyler can connect you with Mike. I was always trying to get Mike and Lauren on at the same time, but Tyler's pretty tight with Mike. He was on Bigger Pockets. He does self storage, and I think I sent you his links a few times. But maybe we can all hop on one day. But
I'll make
so
the
like,
connection. Yeah.
yeah. So Derek, so 2025, what are you looking to do, you think, in the mobile home park space?
Yeah, so we're really kind of tightening up the operations even more and putting even more systems in place for that. So, I'm not in the operations as much anymore, but my business partner, we're looking to, we want to grow the business and acquire more deals. I think we'll be able to acquire more next year. And so we really want to, anything that happens, we're writing up systems for it. We've really created an org chart for the team to these are the tasks that a certain person has, and really like defining this out. And we've been just honing in on that more. So the operation runs even more smoothly, because as you grow, you fix bottlenecks only to find more bottlenecks. And then so we're putting more systems in place to really get that like dialed in even more. I'd like to go to Bali for 4 months too. So
Yeah, it's a good test. You'll figure out exactly where you're
I
at.
know, I know. And I need to travel more. I do. I need to get on Lauren's page there and get the wife and the kids up and be like, hey, let's just roll.
It's a great place for kids.
I saw her post and it was just like, okay, well, now it's 2 months, now it's 3 months, and then she was just I haven't seen her in a while, I haven't talked to her in a while. She chimes in every once in a while on our text messages, but I'm glad you had fun. But so Tyler, end of 2024, heading into 2025, do you look at it more of a time to kind of relax and just get ready for 2025? Or are you doing more reflecting on things you've learned and or how you're going to prepare for 2025?
I usually take the time between Christmas and New Year's, and that's when I do all of my goal setting for the next year. So yeah, I will reflect, and then I'll set my goals. That way we hit the ground running. But I also find for investing too, this time of year, you can usually snag, if you're active, you can snag some good deals. Like some of my best deals have happened, November, December, between Thanksgiving and New Year's. So I'm going to be actively goal setting, but we still have our leads functioning and stuff like that on both sides of the business. So we should be ready to roll January 1st and excited. So I've changed how I do things. Now I work backwards a lot. I have my old school whiteboard up here, and then I'll have my goals so I can look at them every single day from back in the early days of lending. But yeah, I'll have everything ready. And that way, when I get in my office every day, I'm looking at my goals and going from there.
All right, so just remember, I put Derek, Tyler's links in the chat. So if you want to connect with them, if you want to know more about mobile home parks, or if Tyler can help you on the lending side, reach out to them. And they both also have their own podcast and YouTube channels. So maybe you can talk about that real quick. Maybe Derek, you can talk about your MHP show, and what kind of guests you have on and what people can learn from checking out your show.
Yeah, so you can learn anything about mobile home parks. I have different operators and lenders and anybody that's directly associated with the business. And I also, talk about, any issues you're having with operating a park, and things that I've done well and things that I haven't done well,
Mhm.
and we just discuss that in organic conversations on the show. And then some weeks I do individual episodes where it's just me, rambling about something, um, something about mobile home parks, something that happened, or crazy tenant stories, or whatever. But we do that every week or every other week. I think we're at, like, I don't know, maybe 80 episodes or something now, 70 or 80 episodes. So we've been doing it for over a year, maybe almost 2 years. And then the YouTube channel is just like an extension of that. So we have the podcast episodes on there. There's also other podcasts that I've been on the YouTube channel. So if you're really looking to, hey, I'd love to learn about the mobile home park industry and see what that is, we'll go to the channel and check it out. I do shorts. I post stuff every day. There's videos of me out in the parks, and you can kind of get to see the hands-on-ness of it, and it's fun. But again, if you want to learn about that, we've got a lot of free products too. You can get. We have like free master classes. It's like hours long of taking you from like beginning steps to to buying your first park. Goes through all that. So you can check all that stuff out. You can go to my Instagram page or YouTube page.
Awesome. And then Tyler, I don't know. Aaron was on Wednesday, and he was blaming you for the lack of activity on the First Responder Financial Freedom
I'm sure
podcast.
he is.
Yeah, so maybe you can remind my audience about what First Responder Financial Freedom is all about, and what kind of guests do you folks have on?
No problem. Yeah. So our podcast is called First Responder Financial Freedom, and our focus is educating other first responders on alternative means to make income and then secure their financial future. A lot of our people are used to W-2 employment. They're used to working for a 401k, 457 or a pension, and we're just there to show them that there's other ways and that they should not rely on just that one thing. So we've been doing it a few years. We have a little over 100 episodes. If Aaron didn't get us canceled so much, we'd probably have more.
I, I told him I want to know who's in charge of the Instagram side, because every time I tag you guys, it's like 2 months later I get
He
they've
is.
accepted your whatever post I made.
He is. So you can I'll blame him for that since he threw me under the bus for the podcast. But no, it's been awesome. Like I was just looking the last couple of days, over the last couple of years, we went from educating to now we're having people post a lot of their success. And it's been pretty awesome. We have some people that have already retired from what they've done. We have some that are still getting their first deals. So I know, Mike, Aaron, and I are all super passionate about it. We're really real estate heavy on the podcast just because that's what all three of us do, but we do try to incorporate other businesses so we can help people out. So yeah, that's it. We love doing it. As you know, you've been on it, very informal, sometimes not politically correct, but the goal is to educate everybody as much as possible and then help our people out. So we love doing it.
I told Aaron on Wednesday, actually, I don't know why it's so difficult for me to find anyone that wants to come on when he's on. Every time I tell people Aaron's going to be on, they're like, "Oh, I'll get back to you." But if anyone doesn't know who we're talking about, check out some of my past episodes with Aaron on, and he'll make you laugh, though, definitely. And he's going to buy a castle one day. That's his goal. He wants to buy a castle. So we'll see if he ends up doing that. But so Lauren, so what you said, you mentioned boutique and self storage, right?
Yes.
This is the first time I've heard you talking about boutique hotels. Where is that coming from now?
I was thinking about, I do Airbnbs already, so it's not really a departure from the short-term rental space. It's just rather than doing Airbnbs and short-term rentals, it's a more efficient way of doing that. So I think it'll just be nice to have multiple short-term rentals within one space. And with the uncertainty of Airbnbs, I don't know if you heard, Mark, but on Maui, they have taken, so before the condos on Maui had short-term licenses built into the condo. So as long as you bought in that complex, you were allowed to run and operate an Airbnb or a short-term rental, they no longer are allowing that. So they're stripping these condo complexes from their licenses. They're stripping the licenses. So I think with a boutique hotel space, you're kind of protected against those regulatory changes. So yeah, as an Airbnb operator, I think it's a good pivot to make right now with the uncertainty of where that's heading.
I'm not surprised any of the Hawaii Islands are doing that. And if people don't remember, Lauren does have a property in Maui, and I think you said you're on Kauai the other day, and you didn't even message me and let me know. I mean, I wouldn't. I mean, I wouldn't. But you
Well,
didn't
you're
even.
on Oahu.
Yeah, but I mean, it's probably what, a 30-minute flight. But
Yeah,
I don't
that's
know.
true. I did fly to Maui. My mom's on Kauai and I was visiting her, and then I flew over to Maui. But I did think of you while I was there, and I was like, oh, I'm so
Well,
close to Mark.
yeah, thanks. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if you, I mean, you guys probably don't follow it either, but I don't know if you guys are seeing any, I don't know if tightening up or restrictions in your guys' markets, but like Hawaii is also proposing a vacant home bill or tax. So they're going to start tax, or they're going to try and tax people that have proper, homes that are vacant for a certain amount of time are going to be taxed at a higher rate and whatnot. And then also there's a couple of their flippers. They had a show on HGTV. It just got pulled, I guess, because there's some investigations going on about permitting and whatnot. And, there's a lot of issues going on now about how a lot of stuff they were talking about on the show. They were saying they did this much work, this much cost. And then somebody went to look back at the permits and like, hey, you guys didn't say you were doing this work. And, work being started before the permits were signed off on. And so there's kind of a big issue going on with that right now. So I think their show has been pulled off HGTV. But are you guys seeing any interesting news in your guys' markets right now?
I'm not. It's funny. I was looking for the article right now. I saw it was interesting how hotels are now actively trying to buy in certain Airbnb areas, and I was like, I wanted to mark the article to read it, but per usual, I did not, and now I can't find it. But I did notice that they were doing that. Where I live in SoCal, we're right by the beach. Laguna Beach, Newport Beach, that whole area. Permitting has got a lot tougher. And that's why, I love that model, but it is always scary to me that if they revoke those licenses, now your whole business model is dead. And I think a big part of that is, goes to underwriting. Did you underwrite as an Airbnb only, or did you underwrite as a long-term rental to know that that's going to work as your backup plan, and then you implement an Airbnb strategy? So I like it, but like I said, it's always worried me because if they take that away, most people that we noticed the last few years have been underwriting at Airbnb numbers only, and I think that puts you in a really tough spot if something changes.
Yeah, most definitely. I think that's the big thing is a lot of new investors. That was their original model, short-term rentals or whatnot. And like you said, they're underwriting, kind of just if something went wrong or regulations, now they're underwater or they can't operate the way they were hoping to operate. So it's really eating into the profits. So like Derek, what about you? What about you in your, do they have a lot of mobile home park restrictions a lot of times or whatnot?
Well, I mean, the restriction for them is like more for like building them. I mean, there's always like regulatory risk. I think it's the biggest risk in our industry that they would impose like a nationwide like rent control or something. Then, it's like, that would not be good. But there's a statute in Florida that actually says that the federal government can't do that. So I don't know, that's the only thing that worries me, but other regulatory things, not really, in reference to mobile home parks. But, I think that's you get the right crazy psychopaths in Congress and they could pass something. And like, I think you know what I'm talking about, Mark. So
Oh, you can say whatever you want. Aaron says anything he wants on my channel. But, leaving it right there, then, sometimes there's a lot of the younger investors that maybe come on the channel and whatnot, and they always kind of question like how much do you have to follow politics, I guess, or how important is it when you start investing? And what's your guys' thoughts on that? Is it something that you guys stay on top of, or you guys don't really pay too much attention to it, or how do you guys look at, I guess, politics or who's in office?
Yeah, I mean, I can answer like for our business, like honestly, I don't think who's in office, I don't think it necessarily matters because it's affordable housing and there's a need for it. It's the cheapest place in town. So like and there's a massive shortage of it in the markets that we're in. So, from that perspective, we're always going to be rented. The properties are going to cash flow. Where it comes into, where there is some, politically whoever's in office, yes, more regulations, like, more strict monetary policy, whatever it is, that can affect if you're on like, a 5-year window to exit the property. And, if you had to exit something last year or even this year and you bought, assuming you would be able to exit at like a 5 or 6 cap, that wasn't going to happen. And so you weren't probably going to hit your projections. So I think it does matter. I follow it, not like I try not to get wrapped up in it too much because I just get pissed off and I'm like, whatever. But I do pay attention. But I don't try to get wrapped up in it every day because it's a lot of negativity. It's a lot of like, it's a dirty game, dude. It's like, let me, lash out at Mark as much, and then Mark's going to lash out at me, and it's just a freaking slugfest. And it's a pretty nasty fight.
Yeah. I think local politics are way more important for a lot of times in real estate than, well, I guess it depends on your industry, but I guess in self-storage, I would maybe be focusing on the larger policies because it's relatively new in the realm of real estate. And so regulations are always changing for it. But as far as Airbnbs go, I think locally you have to know whether your community is going to ban them. That's one of the reasons why I like Ocala. I don't think it'll ever be regulated here because of the World Equestrian Center. They have several Airbnbs and short-term rentals. So I think that they will influence the local politics to make sure that they're always allowed.
Yeah, Hyder just commented real quick. He's just said, oh, that's his YouTube channel. He just said, I recommend I don't follow politics, lead it by accountability. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, Tyler, you're going to say something?
No, I would say I agree. I think local politics for a lot of us is probably more important, but I mean, I follow it and I definitely don't obsess over it. I think that's counterproductive. I think you just have to listen to the policies that are being issued and then tailor your strategies to that and then adjust if something changes. But I think a lot of people spend so much time focusing on it, it becomes a distraction and it's counterproductive.
Yeah, very true. I don't know if you guys follow like Jason Hartman on YouTube and whatnot, but he kind of talks about politics quite a bit on his channel. But he was just saying, yeah, like it's like a fishbowl, right? You're the politicians, you're in the water, but so you have to know how to navigate through like who's in office or whatnot, or what policies you're going to come down with. But they're kind of determining maybe what direction you might go or how you're going to invest. So like you guys are saying, don't get caught up in it. I mean, unless you have fun with it, like I think Aaron and I do, kind of messing with people. But other than that, it's good to know maybe what direction things are heading, and then kind of that's how you're going to maybe focus your strategy or just prepare for things that might be coming down.
Yeah, and I think one thing on that too, I think it's important to see what's honestly being pitched in the media about the future outlook of the market because, unfortunately, like emotion dictates it more than anything. And so, like if they're pitching doom and gloom, then, your treasuries are probably going to go up. And it's just weird, man. It's weird. It's based on emotion, and like the media has so much power, they can just sort of pitch whatever kind of outlook they want to pitch. and it's going to dictate the minds of people that think anything that the media says is gospel. And there's a lot of people that do that still, unfortunately, and it affects the market for sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. Got Janitor on Fire stopping by, so thanks for the super chat. But you know, actually, he has a great YouTube channel. Also, he has a couple of channels. I put his Postal Nerds on there, but he, you know, maybe we'll talk about what he posted on Facebook. He posted a duplex that's probably like 30-second walk from where he works, and he's kind of wondering if he should buy it. So, how much do you guys put into like commuting and time that maybe it takes to get to the office or whatnot? Like, let's say the deal breaks even. Like he buys a duplex and he's not making any cash flow on it. Would you guys consider it a factor of commuting and how much time he saves by, like I said, it's a 30-second walk to his workplace?
So he's justifying, or the draw is the lack of a commute versus like any potential cash flow. And he's saying that's why it makes sense, because it's improving his quality of life.
In a sense, well, he's still trying to, he's going to run the numbers, but
Yeah.
there's a lot of people commenting like, oh yeah, like even if it breaks even, I would still do it because you're not sitting in traffic and you save this much time a day.
How long is his commute to work?
I think I saw in his video, so you guys can go check out his video. He shows how long it takes to walk to the property, but I believe he was talking about 35 minutes, 40 minutes in traffic. But yeah.
He's going to live in one side of it,
Yeah,
and then rent the other side.
yeah. And I think it won't. I mean, he didn't. I don't think he ran the numbers. I think somebody commented, even if it breaks even, I would do it. Just because of quality of life and saving time in the commute and whatnot. Tyler, I told him I would just take a radio home and tell him, hey, let me know when
Yeah,
you guys need
exactly.
me.
Go available voice and
Yeah.
wait for the radio to go off. Yeah, I don't know. I think it makes sense. I think quality of life is important, and if it's a decent deal, but you have like a 30-second walk to work or whatever he said it was versus 30 minutes, I mean, that's a big deal. I used to commute an hour and 15 minutes one way, and then on the way home off duty, it would be like 2 hours and 15 minutes. I mean, I would definitely not live. Well, I'm not retired, so whatever. Yeah, I would definitely not live where I worked. I mean, it was super fun to work in the city I worked at, but I wouldn't live there. So that was never an option. But yeah, if it is, I think that all plays into account. And like Derek, when he asked if you're going to live there, I think that changes a lot of the way you're looking at things. It's not purely an investment home or investment property anymore. It's now your primary residence. So I think those are always two different conversations too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So looks like he
I
said 35-minute commute and 5% down, and then rent the other side to student rentals or potentially Airbnb.
Yeah, 5% down. I mean, as long as like I don't know exactly what his goals are, but like as long as it's I always like to have capital for investments, and so if I've got to deplete my capital reserves to do it, I'd think about it a little bit more. But the 35 minutes, I mean, you add that up, it's a lot of freaking. And whatever your times, that's a big deal.
Yeah. I told him though, if he did, go into work, he'd like the last one showing up every day, because how the closer you are,
Yeah, you're like you wait till the last minute.
Yeah.
You guys, I have to jump off. I have somebody showing up for a meeting a little bit early, but
Cool.
I'm sorry. I showed up late and I'm leaving early, and
Well, I'm glad you remembered
I'm
us.
on Bali time still.
I'm glad you remembered us. So no problem. Yeah. We'll do this again, and if we don't talk, have a happy holidays.
Yes. Yeah. Let's do it again soon. It was so nice to meet you both. Derek, if you ever come up to Ocala, we'll have to get a coffee or something.
She's not gonna call you.
Yeah.
Went to Molly. She didn't even call me.
I said he can call me.
All right, Lauren.
Yeah,
Thanks.
sure. Good to meet you.
Nice to meet you guys. See you later.
I was just doing the numbers real quick, just for fun, because I like doing stuff like this. If you took the 30-minute drive each way, that's an hour a day. and minimum wage in California is $16 an hour. 5-day work week, that's $320 a month. I mean, that's pretty good cash flow for a duplex if you look at it that way, right? I mean, I don't know what the purchase price is, but one side of a duplex for $320, that'd be $640 for both units. Like if you look at stuff, I don't know, I look at stuff like that way. I'm like, okay, well, I'm saving money on that end, but 5% down, I don't know, you're going to pay for an interest rate as well too. So that's another thing I would look at too and see what you're trying to accomplish.
Yeah, well, he says capital is not a problem. He actually pays ahead on his mortgage, so he's always ahead. He's very conservative in that way. He just worries if something bad's happening, he's not going to make his payment, so he likes to pay in advance so that he can kind of just relax and let it kind of handle itself. But yeah, that was a good one, Janitor. Thanks for stopping by. Hopefully your Cowboys start doing better so you can sell the tickets for a little bit more. He was all upset. He was all upset the other week because he had to. I think he had to sell the Bengals game ticket for like super cheap.
And they blew that game. They blew that game.
Yes,
typical Cowboys. I'm a Cowboys fan, Janitor, so I feel your pain. And the loss to the Bengals was, the quintessential Cowboys loss.
There. Oh yeah, that saved my fantasy season though. Jamar Chase getting that last touchdown though. But yeah, what else you guys want to talk? Anything else you guys working on? I mean, you guys think 2025 is going to be a better year, or how do you guys think your guys' markets are going to look in 2025?
I think it's going to be better. I really do. I mean, I think with the new administration, I think stuff's going to ramp up. I mean, I just do. I think if you look at Trump's, past and his history, I think he's going to push the envelope a little bit on stuff to try to get stuff going. And I think it's going to be good. I think a big thing too, I was just looking up like the whole tax cuts and Jobs Act that's set to expire soon. Like I think that will get renewed as far as bonus depreciation, cost segregation, stuff like that. To me, like that's one of the biggest things that I'm excited about. I mean, are things like that, because a lot of the things that he's going to do have business owners and specifically real estate investors in mind, I think, just because that's what he knows. And so I think it's going to be better. I don't. Have you ever had Mike Florer on here?
I have not.
He's he flips a bunch of homes in SoCal where I live. We were talking a lot yesterday. He always calls me and yells at me when when Powell speaks and interest rates go to hell. And we were just talking, and I think we're all in agreement that I think it's going to get. I do think it's going to get better. Maybe it's just me being optimistic, which I try not to be too optimistic, but yeah, I think it's going to be better. I think commercial debt right now, I think, is starting to head down because of that. I don't know, Derek's in that market, so I'm curious, but like when I'm noticing on DSCR stuff, which is based off of different indices, those are staying steady and going down while conventional mortgages are going up. So, I mean, maybe it's a good time for people to start using, the DSCR debt and go that route. So.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a good year, barring there's not something crazy that's tried to be pulled before Trump gets in office.
I gotta have you on it, Aaron. I think
like a COVID or some other fucking bullshit
or drones. Drones.
He's got to make it to office first. That's the hard part.
Yeah.
Fucking who knows what it's going to be, right? But my God, that's the only thing I worry about. Like other than that, like if it's smooth, which I just can't imagine that it's going to be, then I think 2025 can be good. But again, barring any wild black swan event, it'll be a good year. You guys agree with that?
I think so. And yeah, I think there is an opportunity for a black swan for sure. But outside of that, I think the whole tone of the country, well, it's hard because it sounds like all three of us are leaning the same way, right? So the people that we talk to are probably all going to agree with us because we all think that was that's what's going to do. But yeah, I do. I definitely do. I think that I have a feeling 2026 is going to be like when we really start to see a lot of the change from things that are going to be implemented next year. But I think next year will start to get better.
Yeah, I agree. I think just I know you guys aren't on X as much as I am or whatnot, but you can kind of just feel it. Like, you can just kind of feel, I guess, I don't know if the word right, with more hope. People are just more positive out there and just feel like there's gonna be. They're not saying it's gonna be easy or anything. They just feel like there's just gonna be more um, opportunities and I guess freedom in a sense to operate a certain way or have opportunities and not be so restrictive. So I think that's just the biggest thing I'm noticing out there is people just feeling like there's going to be opportunities. And it's still going to be difficult. Rates are high. Capital might still be a little bit difficult to come by, but you're just going to have that freedom to maybe make moves or not worry about what's coming down the pipeline as far as whatnot. So I like that as just people are, I think, more hopefulness out there, more positivity, and you can kind of just feel it. Um, Cody Evers says, I was thinking rates were going to come down in 2025, but it feels like that won't be the case anymore. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
You know,
I see a
I
lot
agree.
of realtors on Facebook posting, because there was a lot of that. Uh, what is it? Date the rate, marry the home. A lot of
Yep.
people were pushing that for a while, and now that's not coming to fruition. And not saying people are in or buyers are in bad positions now or that bought homes recently, but I was seeing that pushed a lot the past few years, and now it hasn't come down like people were hoping. And I think that's the importance also of having fixed rate debt. It's super helpful in staying on the conservative side. But yeah, I mean, I know Cody was hoping to refinance a lot of things, but I think all his stuff still cash flows. So even though maybe he's not able to refinance and increase his cash flow, I think he's still in a good position in that he had properties that are already on the positive cash flow side. Hyder, this might be for you, Tyler. It says if rates do come down, will lenders be in the position to lend? They may have tight wallets. What's your thoughts on that?
I think so, yeah, because you have to remember, I think a lot of this is volume based, right? So there's some big lenders that have a ton of capital and they're not lending at the rates that they would want to, right? So I definitely think so. And I think a lot of lenders that like larger wholesale lenders are creating incentive programs right now to try to jumpstart it already. Yeah, if rates come down, it's going to be no problem. They're going to have capital to deploy because the money that they're borrowing on their daily rate, on their Fed funds rate is getting cheaper. Everything else, if that happens, their cost of capital is cheaper, and then our cost of capital when we're borrowing is going to be cheaper. Yeah, absolutely. I don't see any capital constraints at all. Um, with the larger lenders, granted, there's going to be lenders that come and go, but like in California, I hold my license. I have my own company, right? Outside of California and all the other states that I'm licensed in, I am under somebody else's license. I want to say, they're not a huge shop, but they've originated like $400 or $500 million in loans this year. So you have to think, at the peak, they were at 2 billion, I believe, on an origination on a per year basis. So I think rates come down. People that have been doing this a long time, like this is, I've been in the market for over 20 years. We know you have ebbs and flows. We're waiting for that next uptick, and the lenders are as well. They're all waiting to let it rip. So yeah, I don't think they're going to have tight wallets at all.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. And there's, even with our deals, I mean, there's the capital markets are pretty liquid right now, but it's just expensive.
Mm-hmm.
The debt's just expensive, right? But I agree with Tyler. If rates do drop, I think there's going to be a significant, like you can get deals done for sure because we can get deals done now. I mean, pretty easily if the deal works. Obviously, the deal has to work, but we've had some banks that we've used in the past, some local banks that they're not really like They maybe have some balance sheet issues or something that they're not lending as much. But the bigger lenders in our space are definitely ready to roll. So I agree with what Tyler said.
Yeah, I think in the markets like this, they all consolidate, right? The biggest lenders start gobbling up market share, gobbling people up. And because they know when it flips, they're going to have that much more of an advantage.
Yeah.
That's why I love the book Shift. Have you guys ever read the book Shift?
No, I
No.
have not.
It's one of the Keller Williams guys, but it's interesting to talk about, or I mean, it's interesting to read, and that's his perspective is in down markets, things like that. Lenders, realtors, everybody, the top dogs always gobble up market share right now, and then that way they're in a prime position when the market shifts.
Hmm.
How are you guys? Do you guys do anything end of 2024 or end of the year to kind of go over like financials and kind of maybe see how you're operating and how to kind of prepare? Because to me, I think I kind of look back and maybe see how liquid I can become if I need to be, or what my position as being liquid is, and how I can take advantage of a deal or something that comes along. So, do you guys do that, or do you guys go over your
Yeah. I mean,
financials?
Yeah, I mean, I do that probably weekly. I'm looking at like, hey, where I'm at, what the cash accounts are. I'm always looking at the cash accounts, and at the end of the year, we're looking at the property cash accounts. I'll have a meeting with our CFO at the first week of January here to see where we're at as far as distributions. If we can distribute to investors, in January, we like to do a January distribution and what that's going to look like moving forward in the year. And yeah, personally, I see that like, hey, we're doing a refinance coming up, so I'll get some liquidity there, and where that's going to come from to take advantage of other deal opportunities, and then just planning for like, what, hey, the management business is going to make, 1.5 million this year. So like, how are we going to get to that? Right. Like, what do we need to do to get to that? How many deals do we need to close and blah, blah, blah. But yeah, it's a lot of planning and backing into goals and really, um, looking at the like you said, Mark, the situation that you're in now, and if a deal does come along and you're like, man, this is a slam dunk deal, what can I do to create the liquidity to get it?
Yeah, very good. Tyler, I don't know if you've ever met. I think his name is Paul DeSalvo. I see him popping in on the Instagram side, Fire Investing. So he invests in Colorado, I believe he was saying.
Okay,
But yeah, that might be someone we can connect with and
I'll
have
reach
him
out.
on one day with us. Yeah. But what about you? You go over your financials. I mean, Derek said weekly. Is that something?
I don't I don't do weekly. I should. I think that's a much
Yeah.
better strategy. But I usually do monthly, and honestly what usually triggers it is my bookkeepers send me all the uncategorized transactions, and that's like a good trigger point for me to be like, okay, like we'll take care of that and then look to see where I'm at. But yeah, ever since 2007 through 10, I try to like for in the fire world, look at like trigger points. Like if this happens, what am I going to do? And then if this happens, what am I going to do? And for liquidity, I'm always looking like worst case scenario in my mind is if things start to go bad, like what do I have as far as current capital right now? If I need more capital than what I currently have, how am I going to get that? What is that going to cost? Am I going to refi something? Am I going to sell it? Am I going to have to raise capital? Stuff like that. Yeah, but I definitely don't do it weekly. It's a monthly basis. And then like I said, right now with volume down on the flipping side, I'm not as worried about it. But when we have a ton of projects going on, I have I would say it's still not weekly, but maybe every other week I'm looking at it because the velocity at which you're moving is going to dictate how often you need to look at that. And like right now, it's not super quick. I'm not doing a ton of stuff, so I don't need to. But when we're in the full swing of things, yeah, because problems are going to get much bigger, much quicker if something goes wrong.
Hyder was saying he talking about the rates again. He could it depends on why rates are dropping. If rates drop because of a need to stimulate from a position of desperation, then that's not healthy risk. If rates drop as a result of productivity, then great. Yeah. Um, Also, you were talking, Tyler. You're talking about flipping and stuff. How many projects would you say you are kind of managing at one time? Because someone in the school community reached out to me. They have a software that they're developing, kind of targeting investors, real estate professionals that are maybe doing burrs or flipping. It's kind of a way to, it's kind of a Notion or Monday doc for flippers. So it's kind of designed for real estate to organize, keep everything. You can come out with your bid, AI bids, and then send it to contractors and have them look at the bids and say they're going to take this or whatnot. But it's kind of to keep all your projects organized. How do you stay organized for all your flips?
We use Asana, and I have somebody who, like a project manager who works on that end. He's a VA. I've had him for years, and he works on that. Like right now, like I said, we're not really doing a whole lot. So my comfort zone is like 3 to 5 at one time. I originally thought I wanted to do more than that at one time, and I think the highest I ever had was 9, and that just was not something that I enjoyed whatsoever. So it's like, well, if I'm not enjoying it, why am I doing this? And I dialed it back, and I felt like that's my sweet spot. So I'd say like 3 to 5 at one time is about the most I want to do right now. There's guys that do a ton more than that, and I know John Nolan has a software, something similar to that. So if they want to look at that and kind of see what he has and tweak it and but yeah, I'd say for me, 3 to 5, when I was in Investor Fuel with Mike Webb, there's guys doing hundreds of deals a year. And then there's guys that are doing onesie twosies, but I think like 3 to 5 at one time would be the most I'd want to do right now.
Damn. Can't imagine doing more than that.
There's people that like it. It's just, I think it's like everything that, like, what's your risk tolerance and like, what are your goals? And my goals, like, that I'm trying to hit, don't necessitate 5 to 10 properties a month.
Let's talk about that then. Goals for 2025. What do you guys hope to accomplish for 2025?
Go ahead, Derek.
Well, our target in the first 6 months is to make another 30 million in acquisitions, whether that's 3 properties, 4 properties, 10 properties, whatever it is. I mean, we have that in the pipeline. So just a matter of getting people to sign contracts and getting it hit. So that's where we're at. It's a pretty singular goal. And then continue to work on the brand more strategically, and the podcast more strategically. But that 30 million in acquisition goal, because the properties we buy, we can double the value within the first year. So that 30 will be then worth 60, 70, depending on within the first year or two. And we'll be sitting pretty good to continue that, moving forward. I put in Chat GPT is my friend. And so I'm always like conversating with it. And I'm like, hey, if we buy, 25 million bucks worth of property for the next 15 years, and it doubles in the first 2, and then doubles 5 after that, and then doubles when it hits 10, how much will the portfolio be worth in like 15 or 20 years? And it was a lot. It was like 4 billion or something, like something crazy. And I was like, all right, so I think we can buy 25 million bucks worth of property a year. Like, I don't think that's that difficult. And so I'm like, all right, let's do it in 6 months. And then if we do that, like, who knows what it'll be worth if we keep buying. So, yeah, so that's where that sort of originated from, that goal, and like with what we have in the pipeline. And so we're really streamlining all of our energy to get to that, because some of that is operations and getting the operations in order, and the capital raising, me going on podcasts and shit to get more investors. And so that's what we're shooting for. Okay.
Aloha, no reply. I haven't seen you here before, but thanks for stopping by. But you said Chat GPT is a liar and really bad at math. Don't trust Chat GPT.
You're right. I don't disagree with you. So maybe it says the portfolio would be worth 900 million instead of 4 billion. It's still a win in 15 years.
Absolutely. For me, it's on our origination side. I want to originate around $50 million in loans. That'll hit me to my financial target. And then on the flip side, I don't really have anything specific yet. I don't usually do that, like I said, until after Christmas, in between New Year's. And then private money lending / hard money lending, I want to ramp that up. to like 3 to 4 million, and that's using my own money and then investors' money. So those are the two goals. If I hit those two, I'll be happy. And then, like I said, the only one I really have not thought about is the Boise area, the flip, buy and hold, stuff like that.
All right. Well, this is all going to be on record, so we can follow up in 6 months or a year and see. Well, I know you guys are going to get it done, so I'm not worried about that. But yeah, anything else you guys want to talk about or chat about, or any? I mean, this was a good one. I think it's a busy time of year, good time to reflect and get ramped up for 2025 and get things rolling. So, what you guys got going on for the holidays? What else you guys got going on?
Not much. Gonna go to do Christmas, everything here, and then we're going to head out of town for New Year's to a place. My kids are right outside the room, but to the place where the Dallas Cowboys play. I have to enter that stadium as a lifelong 49ers fan. Ugh.
Actually, hey, Derek, I forgot to mention. So, did the hurricanes affect you in any way?
We had some water in a park, but none of the houses were destroyed. So nothing catastrophic. We had a septic issue that we're still dealing with, which has been kind of a pain in the ass. But I think we'll figure it out and get through it. So, we'll see. We'll see. But overall, it was fine. It was fine. I don't buy in flood zones. I don't buy shit in flood zones. So and we stay away from the coast. Like most of the stuff you see in the news, like the news is like, Florida is going through, the second deluge. And really those are isolated spots like 10 feet from the fucking ocean. Like most of the state is actually like fine. Right. We can talk about the news all day, but look, we are more susceptible for hurricanes. That is for sure. Like, I'm not going to lie. Like, we get wind and all this stuff and a lot of rain. But, it's, if you don't buy on the coast and you're not where the storm surge is going to affect you, like, you're not, you can have some wind damage and stuff and you'll have that. But, if you're strategic about where you buy, you can mitigate the risk.
All right, what you guys got? What you got going on for the holidays? How old is your kid again?
Well, I have two.
Yeah.
Lily's will be 4 in a few days, and Duke is almost 2, and then we're expecting another one in June. So we'll have 3 coming up.
Oh, congrats, man! Aaron just mentioned that too. He's expecting. So, do you do Elf on the Shelf?
My wife does.
Oh man, lucky guy. What about you, Tyler?
I have 2, and 12 and 9.
They're kind of Elf on the Shelf still yet? No.
We don't do it, but yeah, they're still good to go on the other aspect for sure, which is crazy. So I'll take it, right? Like every single year is like, dude, we were just talking about it the other day. Like this is the best time for Christmas.
Let's see. No reply is saying this is the AI tool you need. Okay. Yeah,
we were supposed to go to Hawaii, Mark, but it didn't happen. We're going to somewhere else now. I'll be there next year, though. I'll be in Maui.
Oh, so you won't call me either?
I will. Doesn't mean I'll go over there. Yeah, I'll let you know where we're at in Maui.
I don't know if I'll fly over either, but you can call me.
I'll let you know.
Yeah. All right. Well, this was a fun one. I mean, like I said, if anything else you guys want to talk about, we can, if you guys got to go, if you guys want to stick around, I'll leave it up to you guys. I got nothing to do right now, so up to you guys, man. Anything else in the news? Bitcoin, Hawk Tour, short sale queen. I don't know if you guys saw about her.
Yeah, dude.
As much as I'd love to talk about that, I've got to go to a 11:15 appointment here.
All right.
So
cool, man. Right. Have a Merry Christmas, man.
Yeah, Merry Christmas. Good to meet you, Tyler, and
good to meet you as well.
Everybody for listening, and I'll see you all next time.
All right, Derek. Thanks, man.
See ya.
Real quick, and I'll hop off. But dude, yeah, I saw that. So she's been around a while.
Yeah.
And I don't really know. I guess we probably should not talk particulars, but what I saw, I was like, whoa, that's pretty heavy. I mean, she was well known in the industry, and especially like in the mastermind communities. Like she was known everywhere. So that was very eye opening to see that.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think so she was on some channels I follow. So that's why I mean that's how I heard of her. But it was definitely it was interesting though because I think someone was saying they think that transaction wise, I mean, as far as maybe it was like 400K of
Hmm.
sales or profit or commissions, I should say. But then I was thinking, I think she has like a course, right? So I'm wondering like how much from that, I don't know how much she was if she was teaching that also, or that was an actual strategy she was trying to teach. But yeah, I mean, like you're saying, she was well known, and just be careful out there, like what you're paying for, and I don't know. Are you big on the sub two community and those type of deals and
No,
um,
but I mean, I'm like a worry wart by nature because of like what. Well, I did not used to be, but like I said, 2007 through 10 changed me big time. So like, sub two is awesome until it's not. Doing what she was doing as far as buying short sales in general and doing all those things, that's like a legal practice. It's just I think there was other things going on, and that all works until it doesn't. So no, but I know, I mean, Pace has a huge community. He does, I mean, really well. I just, for me, it's like it works until you're that one person who somebody exercises a due on sale clause and you have no financial backing. Do I think it's going to happen? Probably extremely low chances. But I have learned I don't want to be that one person, and I usually am that one person. My leg. Well, the doctor's like, "Oh, you're 1 in 1,000." I'm like, "Yeah, believe me, I know. I've heard that before."
yeah, I mean, a great point. I think I can't even remember. I think it was Jason Pritchard. I don't know if you know he's in. I think he's in
I know who
some.
he is. Yeah, he
Yeah,
used to
so
be in Fuel, I think.
he was talking on Zuber's channel in a live, and he was kind of saying the same thing. And I think his little more feeling on it is if you're going to do things like that, and I mean maybe not everyone has that opportunity or position to be in, but it's kind of like if something goes wrong, are you able to pay out or buy it outright, to solve the situation? And I think that's the one thing, right? So like sub two, I think at a certain time, it might be great to dabble in that space as long as you have the capital to fix the situation. Like you said, if they do the due on sale clause, can you just pay it and solve the situation right there, right? So I think that's kind of the position I would be in is be once I maybe get to a certain point in my cash flow or whatnot or reserves, and if I want to do a creative finance like a sub two or something, then yeah, do go there. But as long as I could cover if something was to go wrong.
And that's the thing too. I think people always they don't understand that or they don't think it's ever going to happen and they get information from people so they just continue to do it. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think it's a good strategy like I said. I just for me it's like if when we're buying real estate at a discount, we're getting people usually out of a bad situation. So if I do that and give them my word and then a year later I have to come back and say, "Hey, your existing lender called this note due and I don't have the funds to pay it. It's still in your name. Here you go." Um, that just wouldn't sit well with me. And I mean, like I said, very basic understanding, pace, or everybody may be teaching a way to where that won't be exercised. I honestly don't know. I don't want to put somebody in a bad situation. That's why if I usually do a deal, I think I've backed out of one deal out of every contract I've done. I think I've backed out of one deal, and I just couldn't do it. So,
Janet on Fire is like, who are you guys talking about?
oh yeah.
Janet on Fire, she I believe is actually in your state. Um, but Hyder says I wouldn't accept a due on sale clause to be written in a sub two deal, and if I were to pursue sub two, I would be in communications with the lender to be on the up and up. Yeah, it's a great way to cover yourself. But yeah, man, thanks for doing this. Like I
Thank
said,
you.
we'll get all of us back. We'll get Aaron and Mike back on. Those are always fun. And you guys can kind of control Aaron a little bit, maybe, or I don't know. Maybe you guys bring out the wild side in him and the unfiltered side in him. He's a little more tame without you guys, I think.
Yeah, he's minding his P's and Q's.
Somewhat,
Yeah,
somewhat now, but he's a great conversation, and
absolutely.
I'm sure he sends you all the memes also. But he sends me all kind of memes and stuff, so it's a good follow. But yeah, man, thanks for doing this, and if we don't connect before then, have a Merry Christmas and be safe out there, man.
All right, Merry Christmas to you
All right, man.
too, and I'm sure we'll talk soon. Thanks,
All right,
Mark.
man. Thanks, everyone. Bye.